All right. Sup, everyone. Welcome to Indie Table 2. All right. I'm going to send our guest a link. Fuck. How did I do this again? Just give me a few seconds. Kind of forgot how to send the link to this. Oh, found it. All right. So let's copy that. All right. Let's go to Twitter and paste. All right. Sent the link. Let me exit out of this real quick. All right, so I just got done sending the link. And so I'm gonna wait for some people to come in a bit. Have a nice, good talk about comics or whatever else might pop up. Don't really know.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, nice picture.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of working on layouts for Beatdown Girls, so I'm gonna draw this while we're talking.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for like a few people to pop in.
Who?
Okay, I'm beginning to hit my phone. There we go. So, how has your weekend been so far?
Oh, it's been pretty good. Actually, pretty busy. I work two other jobs in addition to doing this, so I actually got a lot of hours this week. So I
Yeah,
got yeah.
yeah. I honestly just got home from work not too long ago, so it's like let me get everything out the way right now before I start the stream.
Absolutely.
And it's like we have one viewer. All this ready. Let me put that on mute. So, have you read any good comics lately?
Sadly, not any that I would say that were much good. I was gonna read that Batman wedding one, and then they gave away the ending. So I was like, why am I gonna buy that? I already know the ending.
Yeah. Hello, Avid. Yeah, I was like actually planning on buying that comic, but like you said, I might still get it, but I don't really know yet.
Yeah, actually, I've been. Oh, I hear an echo on your side.
All right, hold on, let me
Check.
fix.
Yeah, I hear me in the background there. Someone's got their volume on.
All right. This. Actually, let me get my headphones real quick.
Cool.
right, is that better?
Yeah, it's better.
All right, awesome. Okay.
Where's that me? Hold on. I'm gonna be mad at myself. It was me because
Hmm.
I turned it off. Oh gosh, it was me.
It's no problem.
All right, there we go.
All
No
right.
more echo. So yeah, actually, I've been reading. There's this book by Terry Moore called Rachel Rising,
Hmm.
and he's he's on the left side of things politically, but his art is amazing, and he's not like he doesn't like. I mean, the relationships in his books are pretty real, but he did this book called Strangers in Paradise back in the '90s,
Oh.
and but this book Rachel Rising, like the art in it is absolutely beautiful, and storytelling's great, and it's a really suspenseful kind of it's almost like iZombie, but it's like mostly a horror book without much of the comedy. So,
Oh.
but it's pretty good.
I'll have to check that one out then.
Yeah, Rachel Rising is what it's called.
All right.
Runs pretty great.
All right. Yeah. Fortunately for me, I really haven't been able to keep up comic rise. It's like every time I have a chance to go, I have to go in to like work and stuff, and yeah, it's busy with life. Although I was able to get one alternate book online, so actually can't wait for that to come in the mail.
Yeah, I got to get some of those. They look pretty cool, and it's awesome that they're on newsprint. But I haven't had a chance to really check them out yet. They had some at the Toys R Us in town here, but that Toys R Us just closed. So
I know, along with my childhood. All right. Okay, so I guess now we can talk a bit about the comic and other stuff.
yeah, absolutely. Actually, um, I'll load up the latest cover. I hope I don't dox myself in the process. Cool.
You will dox yourself in the process.
Oh, except everyone knows who I am already, so I'm already pretty public in terms of my name, but no one knows where I live, so that's good. Are you seeing my screen right now as this is going? Oh
Yeah,
yeah, cool.
that's it.
But yeah, I guess I'll talk about it. Beatdown Girl is basically kind of a science fiction comic, kind of based on some of the old '50s kind of EC weird science kind of science fiction in terms of style, and possibly or more along the lines of like '70s heavy metal magazine. But
Yeah, like after looking at the main character, Beatdown Girl,
mhm.
got like this 50s sci-fi feel to it. Like it will be like this really awesome TV show um cartoon, movies, something like that.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. Kind of a fantasy story. One of my favorite comic books of all time was one by Mark Schultz called Xenozoic Tales, and it's about. It became a cartoon series called Cadillacs and Dinosaurs in the '90s, and it's uh, it's a pretty amazing comic book. It was all in black and white, and his artwork is just awesome. But it takes place in like a dystopian future where basically we're like the world got tainted in some way, and it's nothing but like jungle and the planet's really hot, but like the dinosaurs have returned and everything, and so like it's like a combination of it's like a combination of like third world societies and people who ride, you know, hovering Cadillacs in like a sci-fi way, and they also hunt dinosaurs. And so I kind of like books like that. And this has a, you know, this kind of old school ray punk kind of feel to it. So and it also takes place in kind of a dystopian future where basically like uh that's it's actually part of the story, so I don't want to like give away too many spoilers, but um the society's downfall is basically blamed on like robots in this war that happened called the AI Wars, and that's like the universe where the story takes place. But Beatdown Girl, it's actually a story about, yeah, about her discover. You know, she hunts these um, artificial intelligences that infect worker robots and combat robots, and causes them to like start you know, just start attacking people or destroying stuff. But what's weird is she ends up coming across this robot here that you see, this big one,
Oh, yeah.
and he acts totally perverted and weird, and like, and most of the artificial intelligences are like, you know, must destroy humans, you know, and this one is like, you know, like show me your boobies, you know, like he's really perverted and funny, and so that starts a whole when after she captures him, it starts a whole chain of events where she discovers more about these artificial intelligences than what her city state government wants her to know, and so it ends up becoming like a big mystery. And then there's kind of a murder mystery too, because some of these random robots are killing people, but before they do, they like kind of upload their personalities into like these data centers. So like people are being like turned into data before they're killed, and so she's trying to find, you know, find out why and who's behind this secret organization that's hiding out in the city that's doing it. So that's kind of the basis of the story.
Oh, that sounds really cool.
Sweet. Yeah. So I'm drawing it, and yeah, writing it and drawing it and doing these layouts. And then I have to work faster. So what I'm doing is I'm actually doing my layouts digitally now and then printing them out and then going straight to ink so I can just start knocking out the artwork, because I'm also a student, and so school starts in September, so I have to work pretty fast to get this book done so it doesn't get with my homework. So
Um, what are you going to school for?
I actually go to school to learn illustration, storyboarding, and sequential art. I don't like to say which school it is. You can find out on my Indiegogo campaign, just because I don't want any blowback with the comics YouTube movement can be kind of controversial at times, and so
Get that.
yeah, I don't want them to be too doxxed in association with me. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
All right, so how long have you been working on Beatdown Girl?
Uh, as a graphic novel, probably for about 4 months now. I wrote the original pitch and the script about 4 months ago, and then did that initial cover and the first 2 pages as a pitch project for school. And then I came up with the character about 2 years ago as a school assignment. We had to we had to design a character that had an interesting silhouette, and you know, and she's got a pretty interesting silhouette. So see if I have gonna bring up the Indiegogo campaign and see if I can. I have some pictures of the update, I think.
All right.
Is there any questions from anyone in the chat or anything? Or
Yeah, Avid asks, is this a new colorist, Jake?
this colorist is Sarah Madura. She's a classmate of mine, and she does a really good job. Her style's more cell shading, so I don't know if it necessarily um, goes with my style. All right, but it looks great anyway for now. So I mean, it'll be great for this first issue. We got another color. We got a variant cover by a guy named Peterson Oliveira, who's a comics pro down in Florida, and we got a colorist named Nick Capone, who's working on the coloring that cover, and those colors are absolutely amazing. So we're gonna have two really good covers. We're doing something called a flip side variant. So where basically you'll have two covers on both sides of the book, and you could choose which one you want facing forward when you put it in the bag. If you're going to collect it, you can choose which one you want facing forward in the bag with the board. So,
Huh,
yeah.
sounds really cool.
Let's see here. Okay. Well, I showed this picture on this one on. Let's see if I can get rid of that.
And hello to our two other people who have joined the stream.
Awesome. Yeah, let's see here. So one cool thing we got going on is right now the campaign is at 1773, so we're almost 150%, and we've almost gotten 60 backers. If we get to $2,000, we're gonna have a former Marvel artist named Mike Sellers. He's gonna be inking the poster, so that's gonna be pretty cool.
Oh, so let's get you guys to 2,000 then.
That'd be pretty sweet. Yeah, we got some other stretch goals. At 2,700, we're gonna. I'll draw eight, 8 to 16 more pages, depending on how much more I can add to the story or elongate the story in places to make it better. But right now, it's looking like it's going to be pretty good at 32. But that's when we get 27, and then 3,200. We have a celebrity deathmatch perk. One of my friends does a pretty fun webcomic. And if we hit 3,200, we're going to add an 8-page backup story that we're both going to draw. And it's going to be Beatdown Girl versus his character. And it'll be pretty fun.
Okay, the name by itself, I like it because I'm like thinking of something completely different. It's like I really want to see like Beatdown Girl just beat up like the person now.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the latest page we had from that I showed on number one Marmaduke fan site. And after doing this page took longer than I thought it was because I did it in blue pencil, then pencil, then ink, and I was just like, this is taking too long. So now I'm doing my layouts digitally, and then I'm going to go straight to ink from those, and that should make things go a little faster. So, but yeah, but the artwork should be at least this quality on every page. So.
Yeah, I can't draw.
I don't know. Your little is did you do your avatar? I mean, that doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look.
I like I made like the design for it, but I paid someone to like basically make it for me.
Oh, okay, cool. Right on. Are you a writer?
Writer,
Nice.
like I said, I can draw sick people. That my extent,
Well,
my artistic skill.
have you ever read XKCD?
I don't think so.
It's a web comic. It's all stick figures, but it's really funny and it's one of the most popular web comics out there. They make a lot of money on Patreon, and it's all stick figures.
Yeah, it's like the rare comics I do read, I have like too many. So it's like I don't want to add one more, knowing that I won't be, getting to it until like months from now. So I have like a lot of comics and web comics that I need to catch up on.
Right on. Yeah, and let me see if I have. I'm gonna check on my other screen here, see if I can find some more Beatdown Girl designs and stuff that I've done. Part of what I'm doing with this book is because I'm still learning and getting, in the process of getting better as an artist. One thing I do is that you may notice that this layout is actually pretty tight for a layout. Like a lot of people just do, like a something pretty loose or just like the outlines of people. And the reason I'm doing really tight layouts is when I correct and do the final art, the final art will be that much better because I'll be able to have a second look at what I've already drawn and correct things as I do the inks. So that's why I do really tight layouts. Um, I guess as people get better, they can do like really loose ones and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm looking for more stuff here.
May I ask what program do you use?
Yeah, for layouts, I use this program called Mischief, which is it's a $25 program, and what it does is it's a sketching and painting program that basically all these lines are actually vector lines, so they're independent. So you can like if I wanted to like draw like say I wanted to draw like a little landscape inside this dude's hair, right? I can get really really close, right? Draw like an ocean and a palm tree, something like that, right? And a little sunshine with a smile on its face, right? And then I can zoom way out.
Yeah, you should just keep that in your comic now.
Yeah, so this is and then I can zoom back into it, and then so yeah, this program is called Mischief, and it lets you basically yeah have infinite resolution. So I like it for layouts because sometimes I draw things too big, so I can just zoom out and shrink what I drew too big and made it conform to the panel again. So and then sometimes I draw too small and I need to zoom in, so it lets me do that too. But um, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's only $25, so it's not bad for a painting program.
Right.
Let me look here.
All right. So why should readers give Beatdown Girl, a chance and stuff?
Beatdown. What was the question? I'm sorry, I had to turn you up my headset.
All right. Why should readers give Beatdown Girl a chance? Like, what about?
Your question was how does Beatdown Girl? Oh shoot! Oh, you're there. Okay. I guess the question is why should you give Beatdown Girl a chance? I guess to my backers who have, it is a little bit of a risk because yeah, I'm not quite proven to everyone, but I guess you should give it a chance because I'm gonna give it a good, funny and suspenseful story with a good sense of humor and um, pretty decent art. And it may not be the quality of a cyber frog or a red rooster, but it's gonna be um, I'm gonna work my hardest, and it's gonna be look something like this. So and it is gonna be and if we hit our 2,000 goal, the whole book's gonna be in color. And yeah, I don't know if I can hear your mic though. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there you go. You're much louder now. Cool.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, so I guess I mean they should give it a chance just because um, it's gonna be a fun story, and I'm excited to tell it. And if the readers love it, that's 60 readers. I think we're almost to 60 people buying it. That's 60 backers who are gonna come back for more if they enjoy it. So I hope they do, and I'm working hard to make sure they do. So
Awesome. And I'm pretty sure that everyone who backs this book will enjoy it.
thank you.
I'm gonna try to. It just depends on like when my check is coming.
Yeah, no, that I know. It's like we all want to support all these books, but we also have these day jobs, and we have to wait till we get paid. Like, I still haven't supported Iron Sights yet because I'm waiting till payday. So,
Right.
but I've gotten all the other ones, so hopefully, yeah, we're all gonna knock it out of the park.
Right. And it's like, okay, so let me pay my bills first and then food and then everything else. This get done with.
Yeah, and exactly, and it's like the bigger companies, don't necessarily respect that. It's like they tell us to buy their book and then they tell us to don't buy the book, and we end up spending our money on their books and they're not as good as they could be. And but that if you spend like $50 on comics a month, that's a good chunk of our paychecks going to help these companies who are trying to tell us what to read instead of just writing good books.
Right.
So
Like at this point, I can basically use my comic book money for something that I need, like food and such. So
absolutely.
yeah, but once, like I said, the adulting aspect has been done, then
Mhm.
I'll just probably go out on like a comic book binge and just buy a lot of comics that I have not been able to do for like months now.
Yeah. Well, that's what we would call an awesome reader. So, yep. I think it's a shame that that if any comic book company, even if Antarctic, uh, were to were to put out great books, and they do. Like, I mean, My Hero Macadamia is hilarious, and
I still need to read that. I've been hearing good things about it.
yeah, it's pretty hilarious. It's got a lot of anime references if you're in the anime. So
I love my hero.
cool.
All
But
right.
yeah,
Uh, one sec. Let me get this question back up. Okay, so we have a question.
yeah,
Avid asked, I saw you on stream with number one Marmaduke fan. Will
yeah.
we be able to see the two community art experts do a stream again anytime soon?
Yeah. Uh, the last time I talked to number one Marmaduke fan, we were talking about doing one. I think maybe in August, maybe sooner. Maybe Avid, if you want to talk to him, maybe we could do a countdown to the end of the to the end of the campaign, which is in 4 days. But at that point, the campaign's going to switch to being an online store, so people will still be able to get the book. But I think we're talking about doing it in August, and so I can update everyone on the progress and show a lot more of the inked pages done. Because like if we were to do a stream like at the end of August, I should have most of the pages done, and I could just like show them a pile of pages. So that might be kind of fun, but without giving away the story. But yeah, definitely would love to do another. He's a really good broadcaster, and we both know a lot about art, so it's really fun to talk with him. So
Huh. Yeah, I like to watch some of his streams where I like, sit down on my laptop and write like a couple of pages.
sweet.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know much about his stream, and then I saw his early one where he did a tutorial on how to critique a comic book, how to critique a Marvel comic, and at the end he drew a bunch of MAGA hats on on all the characters, and that was pretty hilarious.
Huh.
But it was just funny. But not, you know, it's not necessarily my political leaning, but I just thought it was hilarious that he did that. So
Yeah. All right. So, what do you wish to accomplish with this comic?
what I wish to accomplish is by the end of page 32 to be 32 pages better as an artist. And I might have to go back and redraw some earlier pages just to make them conform better. But my goal is to just get as good as I can and give these people the best I can. And then, and then, and then the goal is basically to get it done and just make it look great and go through the process of I've been through the printing process before. I've published a literary journal for one of my old colleges, so I've been through the printing process, but just printing and fulfilling and getting through the entire Indiegogo process is definitely a goal, to make sure that all these orders are fulfilled. And I'm not gonna say much about it, but I'm actually going to put some of my own money into the campaign in October to make these books even better than people think. But since we don't have a lot of people on it, don't spread that yet, because I want to make sure it's a pleasant surprise to everyone. But my goal is to just give a quality product. So when the next campaign comes around, or if this book, gets a publisher or something, that you guys will be really excited for the next volume. So.
Oh, awesome. That sounds like a really good goal to have.
Yeah.
Like, I think as an artist or as a writer or, wherever, it's like, to me at least, my main goal has always been to like basically one up myself with like each page that I do, with each issue. Like, basically I want like issue 2 to be better than issue 1, and so on at this point.
Yeah, that's definitely a good goal to have. In terms of writing, I think one of my goals is to avoid cliches as much as possible. Uh, kind of, in a way, have the reader trust me to make the story good, in that if something seems predictable, I'm actually going to switch things up. So hopefully that they'll be blindsided in pleasant ways, and that you know, and definitely that to avoid Mary Sue's at all costs. Like it with a character like Beatdown Girl, it's really easy to make her, overpowered and have her always win for no reason. And even in this first fight, when she tries to attack the robot, she actually gets whacked in the stomach with his giant metal tentacle. And so we're going to see later on in the story that that's actually going to have some consequences for her. So, one of my rules is definitely no Mary Sue's. She's not going to be like Rey in Star Wars.
I I cannot stand Rey. It's like Ray. Why? It's like for me, it's like the new movies. Ray, I don't like. However, Jin from Rogue One, for some odd reason, I like her, and I think it's because Jin is like actually written as a actual character, while Ray is this boring at this point. And that's like the one thing I don't like about these perfect, overpowered characters.
Yeah,
There's
totally.
nothing
I
going
mean,
for them.
yeah, there should be a price to pay for every power gained. Like I guess in a minor way in the Last Jedi, even though it's really minor. I guess the torment of going through her past memories might be worth her, starting to learn the Force in the Force Awakens. But in this second, sorry, I brought up the channel so I could see what's going on in the chat. But
Oh, you're good.
yeah, but the oh, I'm not gonna subvert. Don't worry, Avid. I'm not gonna subvert the expectations too much. um, if it seems like it's going to come to something satisfying, hopefully it'll satisfy. But yeah, no, I'm not a fan of Mary Sue's, so there's not going to be any Mary Sue's in my book, unless I bring one in to kill it as a joke.
That's how I am. It's like, to me, the only way you can like have a Mary Sue type character is if that person is not the main character, but sort of like the side character or a background, maybe in a comedy or something. Only then I, would not mind um the Mary Sue type character.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like as long as it's not the main character, then I'm good. If it's the main character, then it has to be done in a way where even though they are, really, really powerful, they still have like some eternal thing that they're trying to basically get through or something. And can I help you? Why are you on the table?
Getting attacked by your cat.
Yes. Why are you on the table? Love you, love. I'll play with you later on. Love you. Bye bye. But yeah, like I said, as long as like the Mary Sue has like, something going for them that's like basically a a eternal conflict or something.
Yeah, I mean, people could consider Superman like a Mary Sue. I mean, he ended up kept getting power after power. He was strong, he could fly, he got X-ray vision in the 60s, then he got laser beam eyes, and and I guess Mary Sue syndrome can happen with characters like in Dragon Ball. Like they get Super Saiyan mode and they keep going up in mode. But the thing about those characters is that because they end up sorry, I'm checking this real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Because they end up like Superman's weakness is not kryptonite. His weakness is Lois Lane, right? So
Right.
a Mary Sue can be manipulated with, a Mary Sue loses the ability, stops being a Mary Sue when they suddenly have someone they care about that they have to, fight for. And I think part of what, like, like if you look at like Ray, who's the ultimate Mary Sue right now, I mean, she hasn't had to lose anything, right? I mean, she lost her family, sure, but like that story is not compelling enough for it to justify her power, right? If she had to actually like lose something or someone to get the power she has, then suddenly it becomes justified.
Right. And I think one like one way that Ray's character could be fixed is one, this show us 30 minutes of how is she like able to do this stuff. Basically just make her human. Like this one training thingy and I'll be like, okay, I still don't like it, but at least now you've actually did, her training on like basically how to um like, um how to use the force and everything.
Yeah.
Because the sad thing is that Kylo, even though he gets on my last he
Right.
basically this, gets on my last nerve sometime, at least with him, I can understand it because we do know that he was trained by someone to basically do this stuff. Whereas Ray, I'm still waiting for something.
I got you. Yeah, I think yeah. I'm not a fan of talking a bunch about Star Wars just because it's an awful place right now. But
Yeah,
um
I feel your pain.
yeah. But in terms of like writing, I think part of what's being lost is oh well, in terms of Kylo, I mean, I think there was a real opportunity to tell a redemption story. I mean, I think in the last like long time there haven't been a lot of stories where a bad guy becomes redeemed and becomes a good guy, right? And it would have been really cool in The Last Jedi had after he killed Stoke, he became a good guy, and maybe General Hux, still in control of the New Order, finds the new bad Force guy, but like, now Kylo is basically like a super flawed hero, and he has to live and atone for what he's done, because he's trying to be good again. That's a way more dramatic and interesting story than what they did because they basically made him a redeemable character for like 5 seconds, and then they just turned him into the new big bad. It was really, just kind of wow wow, you know.
Yeah, actually, wouldn't mind seeing that. But now, since we're talking about the wonderful thing that is Star Wars, in order to conclude this, we must talk about how awesome Rose Tico was in that movie.
uh, I actually, I mean, yeah, I actually think as an actress, she's probably pretty great. It's just she was given a crappy script. Uh, but yeah, I'm not. I really don't want to talk about Star Wars. It's more other, comics tubers thing,
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about writing, like we could talk about different philosophies of writing, I guess.
Ah, that sounds cool.
Cool. So how do you, when you write stuff, do you think more in terms of event and plot, or do you think more in terms of character evolution?
I think for me it will be the first one. Like I have a main idea that I write down, and then I basically like each day add on a little bit more to that.
Okay. So, oh, you're talking about the process when you are writing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, in terms of like story structure and stuff, uh, one thing one of my writing teachers taught me is there's like event structured stories, and then there's like character driven narratives. And the difference is that a character driven narrative follows the perspective usually of the main character, and you as the viewer or the reader learn about the world from their perspective, right? And then an event structured story jumps around from one character to another, right? And so something like again, like a Star Wars movie, that's something we'd call event structure, because like you're going from like Rey's perspective to Poe's perspective to, to God, whose other's perspective is in that movie? Actually, in that movie, it's pretty much Rey and Poe, and yeah, I'm trying to think who went with. I that movie is so bad. I don't even want to think about it. But
I actually forgot.
yeah, exactly. That movie is so bad I blocked it. But it's one of those things where oh, let's see what Avid has to say.
Hello.
Yeah, I agree with Avid. The viewpoint characters are the character telling a story from one character's viewpoint. It's a really good way to unfold the world to a reader or a viewer, because it shows you get a perspective and a point of view on the events that are happening. So there's very little confusion, because sometimes readers and viewers don't know what they're looking at, and so.
Right. So what exactly is your writing thing? Like the um process of it.
Um, let's see. My process is actually to start with something that we would call the 4 sentence synopsis, which is like basically when you write a 4 sentence synopsis, you start with the main character's name, right? And so in my I can't say the 4 sentence synopsis for Beatdown Girl without giving away the ending of the story. But let me think of a movie here. Okay. Have you ever seen the movie Chinatown with Jack Nicholson?
I think so. Like
Okay.
knowing me, I've probably seen like the ending of it.
Yeah. So so these the 4 sentence synopsis of Chinatown is um this guy named Jack uh this guy named Jack investigates the murder of a water tycoon in Northern California. Then Jack meets his beautiful wife and has a relationship with her. In the process of discovering her, the killer of her husband, um, she he discovers that the reason the guy was killed was not because of the water. And then the climax, the last sentence is Jack discovers that basically um, the woman he loves is actually an inbred, because or no, that the woman, the mystery woman that he was trying to track down, was the daughter of the woman he's in love with. There was a weird inbred thing, and so it's really shocking, right? And so that's basically like a 4 sentence like synopsis. And so if you have those 4 sentences, you can basically blow those 4 sentences up into a whole, script. And then it's just a matter of connecting the dots from point A to point B
Huh.
to point C. Yeah. So
I'll
I
have
I usually start with that, and then I this one actually, yeah, this one I did a 4 sentence synopsis, then I blew it up to a outline, and which is basically, since you're dealing with comics, it's kind of like basically I'm at the plotting stage where basically I got what's in the panels written. The only thing I haven't written yet is the dialogue, because when I do comedy, I like to think of the jokes as I'm drawing it. And so, because the story is kind of funny, um, the I'm doing the drawings first, because I can think of something funny, and then when I do the lettering, I can think of maybe an even better joke. So I'm a little bit more loose when it comes to doing that style writing. If I was doing something where the dialogue and themes were very like repeatable, like lines get repeated, then I would probably do more of a script format and write it all out, both the descriptions and the dialogue. You got your audio on.
I do. All right, let me change that.
Yeah, you got to mute your YouTube.
Let me exit out real quick. Huh.
Elzabar is like, my daughter, my sister, my daughter. That's a It's a reference to the climax in Chinatown. It's awesome.
Let's try to fix that.
Also, thank you guys for supporting the Indiegogo. I know I think I've seen Elzabar on the backer list. So thank you so much for doing that, Elzabar. That's awesome.
All right, is that better?
Check. Yeah, I don't hear myself anymore. So
All right, awesome.
yeah, um, I get all slow when I talk when I hear myself in the background. So style to end up in my art. So I guess my influences are kind of like more like sculptural artists. So trying to think of the famous sculptors, but like one thing we do in sculptural drawing is we do these kind of like lines that go around the form. And so I try to that are kind of like sculptural lines. So I'm trying to do that because I don't see a lot of that in comics, I guess. But I used to try and draw a lot like Anders Zorn. I think like I used to throw a lot of ink on the page and like be all scribbly. Um, Let me look up. Probably actually Mark Schultz. I don't know if Avid knows who Mark Schultz is, but I really like his work. And he does kind of like this thing where he tries to go realistic, but he still gets a little cartoony in the eyes. So I guess I'm trying to do that kind of thing.
I'll have to look him up.
Yeah, no, his work's amazing. Like, yeah, I could actually bring him right to the stream. Hold on, not him, but his work. Hold on.
All right.
Yeah, I can find something with some close-ups. Yeah. Like he does a lot more spot blacks than I do, but his I mean his work is absolutely amazing though. I mean he's a master. He's like an editor at DC right now. So but this is his work here. Let's see if I can view it. New tab. But yeah, this is what Mark Schultz works looks like.
Oh, I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's
I have to
pretty.
like basically check out his stuff, man.
Yeah, he's and he. I mean, he wrote it all too. And let's see if I can find this. Yeah, so I mean, his stuff is kind of neat. It's all black and white, so he's using Zipatone. I was gonna do this with a Beatdown Girl if we didn't hit our 2,000 stretch goal to get the whole book covered. I might use Zipatone to separate out the layers so the book will still look good even in black and white. But
Mm.
I might be able. I actually might be able to put some of my own money in the book in October to make it color anyway. But I can't promise that right now. I'm not sure, but we'll see.
So, do you tend to like color or or black and white when it comes to your comics?
Um, I like I mean, I like black and white artwork. The thing about black and white is if you're going to do a comic in black and white completely, you have to fill the page with stuff and separate the layers in some way. So that's where Zipatone comes in, and we're using washes or using hatch marks to create grays because you have to really fill the page because if you're doing you're doing because with color you're able to add gradients in the background and stuff. So even if you don't have any drawing in the background, right, you can still fill the page with that panel with color, right?
Right.
And without it, it looks pretty barren. And so Zipatone is basically a plastic sticker that has little dots on it, and you put it over the top of your artwork, and then you use an X-Acto knife to cut out a shape, and you remove the Zipatone, the excess Zipatone, and the result is you have these evenly spaced out dots that create a gray on your artwork. And
Mm.
so, yeah, that's what Zipatone is.
Oh, cool.
I
It's
think
like
I think Gavin knows what Zipatone is. I think he just wanted me to answer the question.
it's like for me, I tend to like black and white comics like a lot more than I do colors, but it depends. Like some storylines, it needs that color feel to it, while others will like do a lot better in like this basic uh, um black and white. So I guess for me, it really depends on like, okay, is the story going to like is the story going to fit the um um artwork and such.
Yeah, I mean, something like I mean, Walking Dead's a black and white comic, and it's sold a bunch. So I mean that that's a situation where the black and white definitely serves a story. But they're also using they're actually having a colorist do black and white gradients. Um, so that's another option. I mean, if I don't have the book colorized, I could use digital gradients to do the tone separations too. But I'm optimistic. I think we're going to hit 2,000 before I send the book to the printer. So I think we'll hit that stretch goal and get the book in color. So should be fine.
You'll definitely hit it.
Yeah.
Okay, so how are there any future Beatdown Girl comics in the future? Like, uh,
Yeah, there's I don't know if her origin story is going to be completely in this first volume. So I might have to go into a second volume to definitely tell her complete origin story. And then also there's other things going on in the world around Beatdown Girl. Like there's like um the the main city state is on the Mississippi River, and so the to the northeast, you got New York, which I'm thinking is going to be kind of devolved into a whole bunch of like yahoos, like from the book Gulliver's Travel. Like there'll be like you know on the further of the East Coast in the story, people will be more tribal, and then in to the northwest, there's actually these giant robots that are capturing animals and converting them into robots. So there's more stories to tell in the universe. I do have another book I want to work on, also that's a crime story, but for now I'm definitely just want to keep doing Beatdown Girl. So
hmm. All right. So, do you have any tips for future creators?
any tips for future creators? I think there's two things that I think there's two traps that creators get into. One is getting in a rush to share everything right away. Um, I should talk because I'm drawing layouts now on camera, but I think especially if you're learning to draw, I think people get too excited in the online, with online times. I think people get too excited and want to share everything right away, when what they need to do is really work a piece to death and get a completely finished drawing before they go to share it. Um, because I think some people, they just want to draw their character and that's it. But what's an audience supposed to do with that? So I think one thing is learn to finish a entire piece before you share it. Um, I guess another thing is while you're learning, definitely be open to criticism, especially from pros, because pros have been there before and know what their own pitfalls are, and they can help you avoid having the same mistakes that they had. So, yeah, listen. If you're getting advice from a pro or from someone whose work you admire, listen to them, especially about what they say to avoid, because that can save you a lot of from developing a lot of bad habits. So
Hmm. All right. So, what? Hold on. Let me hang up real quick. All right. So, what do you think will be the main future of comics?
um, I think the main future comics. I think I talked about this on Marmaduke's channel too. I think comics are gonna head to the bookstore. I think I don't know what, probably Marvel and DC and Image are gonna have to convert themselves into basically like book companies. I think we've already seen Dark Horse going that way. Like they're already publishing like just regular novels too now. So I think I think the future is going to be longer form publishing, and then just distributing, online, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I think Diamond will probably have to convert to being a book. I mean, they already can distribute everything, so they're not going to be out of the picture. But yeah, I think the future is probably going to be longer form stories and more of a book form. Like that's what we're doing on Indiegogo right now. So that's probably where it's headed.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm like also beginning to think that like the crowdfunding campaigns that would like also play a part in this and like the future of comics and whatnot.
Yeah, basically, what crowdfunding is pre-sales, right? So, I mean, you're basically promising, that you're promising you're doing the work, and you're saying, but in order to do this work, I need your help, and then here's the book, and you can buy it ahead of time. So, crowdfunding is just a really engaging way with your audience of doing pre-sales. So, I think, and then the main thing is then you as an artist become obligated to deliver. So it's 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 a really cool give and take. It's a good way to start. I think once the books are popular enough, a person shouldn't have to crowdfund probably more than once a year. Uh, but uh, but it's also a great tool for building an audience. So I mean, uh, yeah, I think that it definitely has a place in the future. Like, I mean, it's helping put me on the map. So yeah, it's really cool experience. But also, I think it's also going to be there's going to be still traditional ways, but I think what's going to happen is writer and artist teams are going to have to write a lot more ahead of time and draw a lot more ahead of time. Um, with the possibility of not getting their book published. So there's going to be a lot more risk involved with doing comics, but also a lot more reward because you may have to draw now like 30 to 60 pages for a graphic novel pitch to a publishing company that might get rejected. So that's a lot of wasted time. But also if you do a really good job, I mean, it probably increases the likelihood that you will get published with a higher page project. So that's probably the future, at least the way I see it.
Hmm. Cool. So, are you a Marvel guy, a DC guy, or a indie guy?
I was used to be a Marvel guy. In the early 2000s, I go back and read all the cool crossovers they had in the 90s, like the X-Men Executioner song, and I was an X-Men person, so I was pretty much Marvel. Um, and then, but I got into indies, and it's been pretty much indies since probably about 2008. Oni put out a great book called Hopeless Savages, which was about a family of punk rock stars and their misadventures, and that was pretty hilarious book. And yeah, and right now I'm reading Rachel Rising by Terry Moore, which is just absolutely beautiful to look at. And then I mean, Image until a couple of years ago has been pretty great too. So, like Invincible is a really fun read, even though it's sometimes totally devastating. And then, yeah, so those are the books I'm into.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, are there any other hobbies besides comics?
Um, yeah, I like bowling. Bowling's fun. Um,
I haven't been bowling in a while.
I used to be pretty good when I was in my first college, and then And then bowling, and then I work out a lot, so I actually go to the gym every other day. So there's that. That feels good. So I like exercising. And then yeah, that's I don't really have a lot of time for much else because since this thing has gone on, I mean, I work in the mornings, then in the afternoons, and then until I go sleep, I'm drawing comics, and then early in the morning, I'm working out. So that's pretty much my life right now.
Yeah, that's how I am. It's like if I'm not working, then I am basically busy working on the comic. And if I'm not doing that, then I am basically trying to get some sleep, basically. If I'm not doing that, then I'm waking up early in the morning to catch the bus to get to work so I can catch the bus to get back home to basically once again work on the comic. It's like a cycle at this point.
Absolutely.
Really tiring. Sometimes I just have to ask myself, why the fuck am I even still at this job cycle?
Yeah, well, I mean, part of it is you enjoy the process. You have to really enjoy the process. Otherwise, I mean, there's not a lot of point in doing it because there's a lot of other things you can do that can make you way more money. You know, like I mean, I used to be an electronics technician, and I was making a lot more money doing that instead of comics. So,
All
and
right, go ahead.
oh, I'm good. I'm just I should probably check. Do I have my? I think I closed my YouTube. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, let me see which window you guys are in. Oh, there you are. Okay, cool. Let me move you out of the way here.
All right. But yeah, it's like for me, the main reason of why I'm like still this able to function at my job is like I'm doing this so that like next year I'll be able to set everything up for my comment to like, make sure I'm like able to pay my artists. This basically all right, so if I work at this shitty job right now,
Hmm.
then I'll be able to do the thing that I love doing in the future.
Yeah, that's usually a way it works. You know, you make a sacrifice or a bargain. You know, to sacrifice now so you can have the future you want. So absolutely, that's part of the way it works. I think Avid was asking, yeah, New Universe X Men. I don't even know what that is, so probably not. It's probably I read Bendis's run with X Men: Children of the Atom, and I was just like, I didn't like this whole bring the old X Men back from the future, from the past to the future kind of thing. So if that's what you mean, probably not. I liked, gosh, I liked reading the run after Jim Lee left. So I read that there's that 2 issue story that was pretty cool about um, Professor Xavier's like brother that wasn't like um, that was like a pretty cool mutant, and Art Tieber's art in that book was pretty great. And then but then after that was the Executioner's Song saga, which Andy Kubert, Greg Capello, and Adam Kubert, and who else drew on that? Try to think who was the artist on Uncanny at the time. Um, Oh, that was I think that was John Romita Jr. But definitely older X Men books are more what I'm into. I read X Men all until uh, Joe Madureira was off the run. Um, so probably no new universe X Men, just old school what the cartoon was based on X Men.
Uh, man, I used to love the '90s X-Men cartoon. That was like the main thing that basically got me into the X-Men.
Yeah, I actually think that was one of the reasons why Disney bought Marvel is because I think the X Men cartoon rights on Disney Channel were about to go back to Fox, and I think Disney bought Marvel to prevent that from happening, so they could still show X Men cartoons on the Disney Channel.
Hmm.
But
I might actually binge that tonight. I'm not really for sure now. It's like, you know what? I might just actually watch some '90s X-Men and some '90s Spider-Man and like basically some '90s Batman too. While I'm at it,
yeah, I'm watching right now. I'm actually watching um, the new season of Fully Cooley on Cartoon Network, and I have some issues with it, but it's got a lot of good things going for it. You ever see the anime Fully Cooley?
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like
The,
I haven't seen season two yet, but the first one I might
yeah.
actually rewatch that before I do season two again.
Yeah, season two. I have some issues with the very first episode. Like there are just some things in the very first episode that are pretty wrong in a way that like doesn't make you feel right. But after that, like there's a lot of themes like about like how girls deal with depression and how they discover boys for the first time that are kind of neat. So like it takes it kind of takes what was cool about the first season of Fully Cooley, but it explores it from the girl side. Um, there are some things in that first episode though that are kind of disturbing that I didn't like, but so far it's been after you get through the first episode, it's actually pretty good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the next episode tonight. Even though yeah, so that'll be pretty cool.
Hmm. All right, so I guess who would you like to do a crossover with?
With Beatdown Girl,
Yeah.
gosh, with Beatdown Girl, who I like. Um, yeah, Avid keeps getting on this kick, checking out, saying that she should fight Jack Irons. So that might be fun. Get a little Indiegogo crossover. But that might be cool because that's a sci-fi universe too. And it'd be fun to see her fight a cowboy. Uh, I think actually I'd like to see her fight Lady Mechanica
Uh, I
because then you'd have a Ray Punk versus steampunk theme going on, and and you'd have basically kind of like a trash talking American versus a proper British lady. So that'd be kind of fun.
okay. Now that would be something that I would love to read because I've read the first issue of Lady, and that's like on my once I get some extra spending money, that is definitely going to be a comic that basically I will be getting my hands on somehow.
Yeah, Joe Benitez. Actually, that's one of my favorite artists that might be an influence is Joe Benitez. Now I think about it, because um, he does kind of a pseudo. He does both a combination of like realistic and cartoony in a way that really works. And then the only thing I don't necessarily like about his art right now is that I think he just has his pencils darkened and he doesn't have an anchor. And I think if he made enough money that he could get an anchor on the book, that would be way better. But yeah, no, I love Joe Benitez's work on anything. Like he did a book for Top Cow called Weapon Zero, and the art in that was absolutely great. So
Hmm. I also check that one out too. All right. So who would win in the fight? Um, Beatdown Girl or Mega Man?
that's a tough call. Because Mega Man's arm weapon, I think, shoots kind of like a plasma, and Beatdown Girl's arms are actually a combination of titanium and graphene. And so I think if Mega Man uses the wrong weapon, like if you were to try to use like Razor Leaf or or maybe even Flashman's Flash Stopper, he'd lose. I think if he managed to get enough shots in with his just regular arm cannon, and she wasn't agile enough to uh, to dodge it, I think Mega Man would win. But he'd have to be, he'd have to be on form and hitting every shot and avoiding her punches. So, because if she got one good punch in on him, it'd be over. But but like if he was going like with like Gutsman's power and just using super strength, she would win because I think their strength would be about the same. Because Gutsman was also a robot, and so I think their robot strength would cancel out, and then she'd also get in some good kicks on him. So, but yeah, I think Mega Man would win with just his arm cannon because that shoots plasma balls. So there's not quite a metal on Earth that can hold up to plasma at high speed. So
Hmm. All right. So
I hope that answers your question.
yeah. All right. So I'm going to end it here.
Sweet.
But this was a fun talk. I got to basically learn like some interesting things that four sentence
Four sentence story synopsis.
yeah, that was like something I haven't actually I've probably learned it, but knowing me, I forgot it. But that was like basically just interesting to like basically learn about again. But this is like a really um good um
Stream.
yeah.
Right on. Well, I'm glad it worked out. So cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So we had to like do this again sometime. Don't know
Totally.
when.
Yeah, just give me enough advance notice so I can make sure if I'm going to be busy or not. I I'm one thing I can't wait about this campaign is once it's done, I can't wait to just do nothing but draw. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to is getting this book just knocked out by just being able to draw the whole time. But because when you're running a campaign, you have to kind of like also switch to your phone constantly to update Twitter and update the Indiegogo, and so it'll be nice to just be able to make sure that the art is going to be the best it's going to be and to get the writing really good. So I can't wait for that step of the process. But yeah, but absolutely, with enough advance notice, I'll come on again.
All right, I will let you know 1 minute before I actually decide to do before I decide to do the live stream.
Oh no. Okay,
Actually, 1 second, like 1 millisecond.
1 millisecond. That. I don't know if I can do that. That's a really short amount of time.
I know.
All right. Okay. So I guess we're ready to go now. So
Yep. So
bye, Avid. Thanks for the great questions. Who else was in the stream? We had Elzabar. Bye, Elzabar.
yep. Thank you for coming out, guys. And I will see you guys again with the next Indie table. Night and love you. Bye bye.